So after you have demarcated your scope and determined what the system boundaries are of your initial carbon footprint, you are not yet going to step two, but first you are going to set up a session with your team. Find a few colleagues who are whether or not interested in this topic, doesn't really matter. You need their review, their feedback on the decisions of excluding specific sources from your carbon footprint. So that you can have a dialogue and have an extra set of eyes on this demarcation, on the scope determination. If you finish that, then you can go to the second step, the step of data collection. In this step, you will have to collect to multiple colleagues, but also to supply chain partners. And this step is in any project that we are contributing to or where we are guiding our clients, but also when clients are, when people are using a carbon dashboard or doing their first business carbon footprint, data collection is by far the most complex process. So what does it involve? First and foremost, data collection is very much about connecting to the right people. When you're doing the free version, so to say, of the business carbon footprint, or when you're a service organization or whatever, you will mostly be involved only with internal stakeholders. And get in touch with people at different departments of your organization to gather the right information and transform and collect that information and transform it into usable data. Second, of course, especially when you're diving more in the supply chain, we're also looking at external stakeholders, mostly suppliers and maybe other stakeholders like users or end consumers. So what are potential sources? I've listed just a few that came out of from the top of my mind. But think of invoices and bills. Think of kilometer registration systems for business travel and employee commuting. Think of your enterprise resourcing software. To gather information. Think of your colleagues at the administration, at HR, at the procurement, or go to your financial department and request the ledgers on procurement. Then there is, of course, what kind of data are we looking for? I mean, we're speaking of data the whole time, but what is this data? First of all, we are mostly looking for physical units before monetary units. You can do with monetary units, but as you will see in our dashboard and also is with us as an organization, we want to focus on the physical units because those give us more, higher quality insights into your carbon footprint compared to monetary assessments. In the Hedgehog Carbon dashboard, you'll see what the actual units are that we're looking for. So we're diving into that in a little bit. Again, I've noted in the beginning, keep in mind your reporting period. So also when you're gathering information and your financial year, for example, is from July to July, also collect the information from July to July, because otherwise there is a discrepancy between your reporting and your activities. And finally, I've called it an audit trail, call it a data collection logbook, call it your notes, whatever, but please keep track of all your assumption, all your data sources, and combine these, first of all, to include in your carbon footprint report, but also to write them down for yourself, that if you want to do a reassessment or the following reporting period, carbon footprint, for the next month or the next year, that you have this protocol, data collection protocol there that you can use and that you can then re-walk the same routes that you did in the previous period. Of course, a webinar or this webinar is nowhere without a nice case study to get everything a little bit more clear. So I have developed a case study of a nice company called Peters Incorporated. Peters Incorporated has an office building in the Netherlands and an assembly site in the Netherlands, and is a assembler or producer a producer of Hedgehog night lights, which you can see on the right side. So what are the main activities? They are procuring components, assembling these on their assembly site in the Netherlands, and then when the products are assembled, they are shipped to retailers and e-tailers. Peters Incorporated has produced 60,000 lamps in the month October of 2023, so it's quite a big organization. When you look into the left side, there is a print screen of a spreadsheet that I've already filled in. So this is my data collection sheet that I have used for Peters Incorporated. You can predetermine while doing your scope demarcation, you can predetermine, of course, what inputs you are looking for based on the emission sources and the scopes. And then write the out in your spreadsheet or your Microsoft Excel or whatever you're using to facilitate and organize your data collection period. So when we're going quickly from top to bottom, first we have the office building and the assembly site, of course. There is an electricity consumption there, which is split into two because we have some solar panels on our roof. And of course, solar panels are producing renewable or green electricity. So there's 643 kilowatt hours, and we have an energy supplier or electricity supplier where we have an additional 2,103 kilowatt hours. It's always important to find out who your electricity supplier is, to find out whether the electricity that you're consuming is green or gray or unknown, of course. In addition to that, we are using natural gas in our assembly site from supplier Y with an amount of 8,907 cubic meters of natural gas. We're having a lot of air conditionings because it's very warm in the Netherlands and it's leaking refrigerants. So we have consumed 2 kilograms of refrigerant in our October 2023. It was a very warm October. We're using district heating, 756 gigajoules, and we have forklifts driving around with these LPG tanks on the back, consuming 712 liters of LPG in October 2023. Then we have the company vehicles. Same goes there for the electricity. You must know whether it's green or gray. Well, a lot of the electric vehicles, of course, are mixed at different charging stations. So that's when you report for a mix of energy where you don't know whether it's green or gray, but it's the average energy or electricity of a specific company. Gasoline and diesel are straightforward. You fill in the liters, which are hopefully found on your fuel card administration or any other kind of kilometer registration system. We have business travel. I will dive a little bit more into those when we're on the actual dashboard, but make a distinction between train, between planes, but also the distance between planes, and always list down passenger kilometers. So when two people are taking the same flight, you are finding out what the amount of kilometers for that flight or for the train ride is, and then multiply it by the amount of passengers that are taking that journey. Then we are going, also small note, of course, to the Pro version, but then we are going to the Scope 3 emissions that are not included in the free version. We have the logistics of supplies for our Hedgehog lamp production. We have the production or the purchased goods and services themselves. And that's also why I was mentioning that when you're going for the Pro version, we prefer to be there to put the input, because then we are calculating, okay, what is the purchase goods and purchase goods necessary for this specific Hedgehog light, and how many kilograms of CO2 is there per product. So we've calculated for this case that there is 350 grams of CO2 equivalents per purchased goods that are needed for the production of one single lamp. And therefore, when we are in the dashboard, we're filling in the units. Then we have the downstream activities, of course, the logistics of our end products to the retailer and the e-tailers. And finally, there's the use of sold goods, because our lamps are consuming electricity, and we've calculated that there is a 1.7 kilowatt hours over the full lifetime of a lamp, of an Hedgehog lamp.